started the broadcast tonight, which is 10 times more than I did for the other session, which I just typed in the name and then thought about starting it. And,
Also, make sure the mics are working, because...
Oh, yeah, that would be a good thing. Yeah, I'm getting microphone input on my end, and it says, like, boom. All right, we're live. Cool. So, welcome to the Ilderon Tales. Before we get started tonight, there was something I said I wanted to do. We might have to do a lot of fiddle-faddling in this campaign later down the line with readied actions, and they are pretty gray inside the player's handbook, so I just wanted to put a ruling at the top of the campaign so you guys would know how we're going to be using them. So, readied actions in the player's handbook on page, what was it, 162? I think? I don't know, I lost it. 192, yeah. Readied actions say that you prepare to do something, and then when the trigger that you set goes off, you spend your reaction to do it. And you spend your reaction to do the thing you prepared. And I always thought there were a limited number of things you could do with your reaction, in that if you used it to attack, you only took one attack, or something like that. However, that is not the case. Whatever you ready with your readied action goes off, and what they describe there is that you can ready an action to cast a spell and to shoot somebody with that spell, and then the action would still trigger on your reaction, and your one action spell would go off entirely on your reaction because of you cast the spell as an action on your readied action that then triggers on your reaction, and then you cast the spell, releasing it, shooting the person. So with that in mind, the way we are using readied actions is that it simply shifts your standard action onto your reaction for that turn. And so if that changes my mind entirely, because before I thought, if you ready an action to attack, that you would make one attack on a reaction, or you'd ready an action to take the attack action. But so now it is standard. You use your reaction as one action to take the action. Your reaction counts as one action that has specific things that trigger it. If that is confusing, I'm sorry, but that is the easiest my brain can explain it. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Jordan and I talked about it for a little bit, and he seemed to understand, and if you guys feel like I'm cheating you, let me know, and we'll try and define it more clearly.
All I know is that I now know the spell Banishment.
I know the spell Blink.
As we get higher and higher in level, there's just more gray areas of 5th edition that are the DM's choice of just like, yeah, whatever. And I just want to make sure we have some consistent way of tackling them. So, because a lot of it's just, what the DM says to do in this situation. And you guys know me, like, one session to the next, I'll forget what I said or did, and just like, yeah, whatever, let's go, man. So anyways, yeah. Ready action, you shift your standard action onto your reaction. That is as simple as we can put it. Anyways, this is welcome to Group B, Ilderon Tales. This is Legends Lost, Episode 1. Since it is the first episode, I'll let everybody introduce themselves. We have all returning players from Group 2, except one new character. So let's go from left to right on Roll20 with Ramon, JD, Jordan, and then Robert.
So we just introduce our characters?
You can say, hi, I'm Ramon, this is who I'm playing, and you can say as much or as little information about your character as you want.
Allow me. I'm JD. I'll be returning playing Tristan Phylint, the Cleric of Storms. He worships Gale Song, and he currently is in possession of Shattertooth, an Earthfire artifact that we obtained in the last campaign. I plan to put it to very good use in my lawful evil hands.
Whoa.
Alignment confirmed.
I'm Ramon. I play Irkus Virgin. I'm a half-elf ranger who has no idea what he's getting himself into with these crazy people. Or he should know by now, but he's still here.
Alignment still unconfirmed. Pretty sure evil.
My name in the chat says I am not evil.
evil.
Obviously, I am not evil.
That's exactly what an evil person would say.
I'm not a crook, so...
There's no winning.
So, I am Jordan. I am playing Hauzik, a tiefling warlock. I am super intrigued by mysteries, and I have been sent a mission by my I don't know how to describe it, entity that gave me my warlock powers to build the ultimate weapon, and I thought that was a challenge, and I accepted it. So, weapons.
Oh, I should probably close your backstory on my screen. Hopefully it's too small for people to read. There we go.
No, I can read it perfectly.
No!
Let me just zoom in here.
And then, finally, last but not least, Robert.
Robert, playing Roman Drake, a human fighter, puncher of things. And much like Irkus, he's probably still questioning why he's here. And wondering what he's continuing to get himself into.
Also, true neutral.
Alright, so, when we, last left off Group 2, man, all the events of the capital, and going on with the Earthfire weapon, Ryrend. I'm just going to read the intro to this, campaign, and we'll just jump right into it. So, some secrets can't be foreseen. The bonds that once held together peace between the Sunsarai nations are tearing at the seams. Headmaster Dila Winrona, who acts as the voice of reason within the ambitious nation of Ililnagai, has been missing for an entire month. Without their eternal matron, Ililnagai looks towards their inexperienced Sky Queen to steer them through the troubled waters. Free from Winrona's careful guidance, the country has begun engaging in border skirmishes with its neighbor, Arter Sarai. Winrona's apprentice, Effie Freedomfall, was traveling abroad in the nation of Arter Sarai when she learned of her mistress's... Why did I write all of these, like, words? Wow. When she learned of...
Proper noun.
I know, right? When she learned of her mistress's disappearance. After searching down the foreign country for clues, she encountered a plot against the Arter Sarai government to throw the country into chaos, using powerful magical relics. She found allies in a group of adventurers with ties between Ililnagai and Arter Sarai's nobility. Bonded by fate, the party tracked down 2 Earthfire relics and managed to capture the soul of a powerful undead warlock. With the power of one of the Earthfire relics, Effie and the party will be capable of locating their mistress and tracking her down if they can use it without going mad. The party is carrying 2 items of immeasurable power, an anthology of deadly new research soul magic, and a fragment of bronze containing the soul of a warlock who had a hand in all the moving schemes. Certain that they would need the safety of the Maphis University, the party departed towards the heartland of Ililnagai to deposit their treasures in the university vaults. While on the road, the party was stopped south of the Ililnagai forests. A messenger from the town of Forestfall predicted and awaited the party's arrival. A person claiming to see the future fled to Forestfall, where she could be protected from the authorities of Alyan and Ililnagai by the powerful wolf spirit that resided there. The would-be clairvoyant sent a dire word ahead requesting the party's aid. Their story begins outside the gates of Forestfall. Alright, so, should probably have made that a page, but didn't expect you guys ever to come back here after tonight's session, so we'll see. Anyways, the town of Forestfall is nestled in the bottom parts of the Alyan Forest, and it is, let me sketch real quick for you guys. I'm going to do this one in sky green, because why not? The sun in Ilderon comes from the northwestern sky, and passes, well, it's more like that right there, and passes over the world like that. The world spins on a weird equator, which is one of the reasons why I told you guys there's so many different ways of north, to what's magnetic north with the world, with the way the world spins. Magnetic north is that way, as opposed to the true north and then the sea stone north, which is that way, and then true north, or I should probably do those in different colors. Hey, you know what? Why am I doing all that when I have maps of this already made up? There we go.
Question for the ages.
I know, right?
So the green lines are the long lines is the path the sun takes, correct?
Yes, that's the path the sun takes.
Starting northwest to southeast?
Yep, northwest to southeast.
Okay, it'd be better if you had arrowheads. Otherwise, it just looks like lines.
Oh, no, I actually made entire charts for this, for this moment, and I remember doing this specifically because as I was doing it, I was like, this looks like organized chaos. Nobody is going to want to know this much information about the currents and directions of the world. There we go. So, yeah, I'm just going to make a new page real quick. We'll duplicate this, and I'll put the way the currents flow, and then the way that the norths are.
How many moons do we have?
There is only one moon in this world.
Okay. Does this gravity affect the waters like normal Earth?
Yes. Tides are actually something I haven't put a lot of thought into.
Gotta make the DM develop the world as much as possible. I need to know because I need to make a merfolk character later.
I need to know. What if I ever actually get to pilot a boat?
Alright, there's the currents.
I've ruined any chances of Brandon ever giving us a vehicle of any kind because of how badly I trolled him.
And there is the directions of north. Alright.
Those so small.
It's super small. Okay, that's better.
Yeah, they're about to get bigger. I'm gonna make them as big as they were on the last page.
From the looks of it, we don't have to go to the inner sea to get to our destination.
So, red currents are, I probably should have outlined what those were. I'm pretty sure the red currents are weak currents, and then the blue currents are strong currents. Anyways, if you look at that second, map, the black arrow is magnetic north. As how north compared to how the world spins. If you have a magical item to discern north, the orb of direction points in the direction of the red arrow. The blue arrow, there is a stone used in the development of cities in this world called sea stone. When you drop water on it, water always moves in one direction across it, no matter which way it's facing. Where you put the stone, if it's uphill or downhill, it will always move in that direction. And the arrow pointing southwards, water always moves from the northeast to southwest on the stone. And those are the 3 different norths. So there's sea stone north, compass north, and then true north.
I'm gonna break this to you. Seastone North is south.
Right.
Well, that's the way the water moves on it. If we were being honest, it would be more like, let's see.
Southwest.
Yeah. Be like that. There you go. Anyways, I say this, because Alil Nagai is right on the world's equator, and most of the country never sees a winter and gets year-round good amounts of sunshine, except for Forest Fall. It is shadowed. It is one of the few villages completely covered still by the Alien Forest, which has a dense forest top, and the forest stretches from the northern country. It is often said to be spiritual, and things roam inside of it, and that you shouldn't ever go roaming through. In Ardor, it's called the Eastern Forest, but, you know, East is relative. So, anyways, you should, those of you from Ardor know it as, you should never go roaming in the Eastern Forest. This village, however, is kind of a,
That makes no sense.
What do you mean?
Okay, so people of Ardor.
Oh, I'm sorry, Western. Western.
Okay.
There we go.
Alright, that's where I was like, this makes no sense.
Hey!
Because direction is relative, apparently.
Hey, if you go east enough, you'll still get there.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I'm
it's
saying.
going to go around the entire world eventually.
The world's round.
You'll get to, if you go east enough, you'll get to a forest.
Yeah.
Alright, that was my next question. Is the world round? Even if we're going flat Earth theory or not.
Nobody has sailed it. Most of the sailing.
Alright, this world's totally flat.
Yeah, most of the sailing in the world happens in the inner sea. You can sail the outer sea, but why? Anyways.
For more trade.
There's a giant dragon there, though.
Yeah. Anyways, outside
I
of
just tell my players, yeah, you can sail that far, but there's vortexes and sea serpents up there, so why would you want to?
So punch the sea serpent.
I'll go east. There's no sea serpents to the east. There's a giant compass to the southeast. We're not going to go there.
There's a big ant down there.
well, just more interesting notes about the world. As you know, you guys do have like scholars and stuff with you.
I'm a scholar.
Yeah, few people have sailed around Girion, and
Sail.
it is possible. However, for every explorer in history, once they've gone south of this point walking, south of this point walking to the edge of the continent, nobody has ever reached the edge of the continent. It is a endless exploration of wilderness, walking from that part of the continent to the edge. However, people have sailed around the continent before.
Makes a sword.
Oh my god, it's the Sword Coast.
No, but your characters all do know that south of the Walkwater is nothing but untamed wilds. Because you guys have talked to Nathan before, so it's not a new fact to you.
Who we never hear from again.
She did.
Basically dead now.
Just note that Brandon's drawing made a triangle, and so that area is the Bermuda Triangle.
I was gonna say it's a sword on a bow now.
That's a really fancy arrow.
Hey, sword on the bow.
Anyways, though, Forest Fall, Urkus's hometown. Outside of the gates here, as with many towns you're going to find in Lilnagai, there are not guards here, but this town, it does have a wall. Outside of the gates is a group of people in golden and white armor and robes. They seem casually relaxed at the gate as you guys approach with the messenger who is waiting for you. The messenger who led you back to this town is a man by the name of Muxin. As he approaches the town, leading you guys up to the gates of Forestfall, he says, "Don't worry about the sun yet. They can't touch the Oracle as long as she's under the protection of Bodoff."
All right. So, question.
Literally who?
Lots of questions. Then let me rephrase that. One, is Housick with the party already?
Housick,
or is he waiting inside the town?
I should have mentioned that. Housick is waiting inside the town already. We will get to him. Housick was sent here because somebody has been claiming to be able to see the future, and that is a magical anomaly that needs investigating. And the people that would normally do that at the university are out, so it's his job now.
I'm willing to do it.
On a scale of 1 to smuggling cocaine into the country, how illegal is it to do that?
To see the future?
Yeah.
To see the future, if you can do it by conventional means, practice studied magical techniques, not illegal at all. However, there are certain things that are very illegal to do. I'm not sure if Tristan would know them off the bat. It would be kind of a pups, chill out.
Are you implying that a lawful character would not know the law of the land?
Not of a foreign land.
Oh, fair enough.
Continue on.
Also, I would like it to be noted that Tristan, whenever he goes a day without expending any uses of Shattertooth, he'll use charge of Shattertooth to scry on his family.
Okay, and by the way, you're able to find a poor sap on the road to pummel one night to charge it.
I thought we were going to use
we
Kron.
used Krun. Krun?
If you guys want to use Krun, that would be something we have to handle in a session, because he is a boss that can decently challenge the party.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want his ass out.
Okay.
He can't challenge the harem, but he can challenge 4.
Okay, in that case, we will keep him in his bottle for the time being, and later on, we'll give that bottle a rub.
When
we are ready to murder him.
Do you need me to share the effects of the mirror with you again, JD? And would Tristan?
No, I went and found them in our chat log.
Okay.
And like a good player, copied them to my sheet.
Alrighty.
This isn't my first rodeo, and I'll be referencing that thing like 500 times.
Fair enough. But anyways, in regards to the future scene, it's not not a matter of is it illegal. It would be more like making money. It's like, well, making money is not illegal, but it's how you make money.
Okay, so it would be illegal to say use that gift inside a gambling den.
Yes.
Depending on the legality of the gambling itself.
Yes.
People at the table might get a little bit upset.
If they know.
It ain't illegal if you don't get caught.
Yeah. Urkus is...
Still to eat. Tell you how when you get that time.
Urkus is going to know there is one thing though that the scholars of the university dislike, that defy pretty much all explaining, and those are going to be the spirits of the alien forests, including his father, Bodoff.
Literally who?
Wolf spirit.
Wolf Daddy.
Yeah, but anyways, when Tristan says literally who the first time, Muxen, the guy leading you, is going to say, Bodoff, he's the spirit that protects this village.
If you say so.
I'm almost certain we've been over this once, but
I was gonna be like, isn't that Urkus's dad?
it is. It is.
He approaches the...
That's nice.
He approaches the Sun Yith members watching the gate of the city, and begins talking with them, and points to you guys. They gesture for you to come closer, and one of them pushes open the wooden gate of the city.
We walk in.
I follow.
I was waiting for the rest of the group to chime in like we go.
I'm not there, so I can't chime in.
No, the rest of you guys are just sitting there staring at your toes, gates wide open.
Oh
You're
yeah.
looking for an invitation? That was an invitation.
Everybody in the party right now is it's Urkus, Jessica, Roman, Tristan, and Effie. That's your guys' whole party compared to the near dozen people you always had before.
Yeah, but see, we also can see literally everything, so...
Everywhere now.
You also no longer have a compass.
As you guys walk by the group of Sun Yith members guarding the gate, you notice a woman with a ledger writing on her ledger each time one of you guys passes by. Urkus is home in the familiar town of Forestfall. It is tiered between the lower part of the village and the upper part of the village, leading to where the forest begins to get thicker at, where he knows that his house and his where his father reside in the upper part of the city, our village.
Question: Would the Sun Yith outside and the person keeping track of coming into the village, would that be strange to Urkus?
Yeah, that was not here before when he left.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but it totally sounds like you guys are saying Sun Yith.
Sun Yith.
That is it.
Yeah.
Sun Yith.
Sunyith.
But with
S-U...
F's. 2 F's.
Oh, no, it's...
TH.
Yeah.
Yeah, Y-I-T-H. Yes. 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 Feel me, man.
And now the rest of you can't unhear that, and that's my gift to you.
I hate you.
I know you do.
Muxin seems very troubled and continues walking towards the upper part of the city.
I'd like to ask Muxin, like, what's with the person at the gate keeping track of who's coming in and why the Sun Yip here?
The man seems pretty nervous. Said they think the whole city might be the whole village might be cursed, interacting with the spirits in the forests. You know, the Sunyith purges. But they wouldn't do that. The new Sky Queen she's graceful.
Did she fall from the sky?
No. Actually. Actually, let's see.
There are schools.
Sky Queen didn't come from the sky. There's something wrong with that title.
Fake news.
Alright. No. She is graceful. I was right. I will, tell you guys information, as you either ask me about it, it becomes relevant, or history checks. Otherwise, I will be here explaining the wiki, literally all night. But anyway,
that's fine. I was making a joke.
Okay, I was about to say I can go.
You have to actually go look it up.
I can go why she's called the Sky Queen, but yeah.
I looked up Sky Queen and couldn't find it in the wiki.
Look up Ililnagai under leadership. It is right there. Everything on the wiki is common knowledge for people, so it's things you guys can, you know, say your characters know. Anyways, since we're discussing it though, I'll read it for the people on the stream. While officially Ililnagai is a matriarchy, modern politics have caused a bipedal form of government to emerge. The appointed Sky Queen is the ruler of Ililnagai, but she must share responsibility of governing with the High Council elected from the various regions that make up Ililnagai. The current Sky Queen is Sarai of North Shore, Risen Sky Queen of Grace, appointed in 1010 AE at the age of 27 years old. She is one of the youngest Sky Queens in history. To those close to her, Sarai is known as careful and kind. However, to outsiders, many believe her to be the weakest and easiest of Sky Queens to manipulate. In her first 4 years of rule, the Sky Queen has made enemies with the Ruby Shadow in her heavy-handed attempts to outlaw slavery. The young queen has also made enemies out of the Silver Sigil in her cautious disposition towards soul magic. Anyways,
She sounds like a nice person, but also, don't you just hate it when your form of government grows legs?
I hate it too.
What if it runs away? Then there's a government shutdown.
Topical.
Kill me.
I like the live thing that we've got going on. It's very comforting.
Alright.
Alright, so we're walking.
Alright.
To the beat.
The main house in the upper part of the village sits above the hill that the wall is built into, meaning that once you're in this upper part of the village, you can walk straight into the Alien Forest. Beyond it is darkness in the distance. Nope, you wouldn't even be able to see the river here. Just trees, and all of that. Anyways, the house, there are 2 official guards outside the house here that would be dressed in the colors of blue and white, marking them as members of the Risen. They are government guards. Urkus would...
Rizzo, like the Muppet?
No, Risen. Also, see the wiki for the factions of Ililnagai. They do not have nobility. They have a single preparatory faction that preps its citizens to join the government and become the Sky Queen. It is a prep school for young females, and it has recently just started letting in male candidates.
Ooh, oh.
How
Yeah.
very egalitarian of them.
Yep.
Be a Sky King.
You guys, if you guys remember Eric he played, I think, my role in this campaign, or rather in the last campaign forever ago. He argued with me for...
Wasn't that the drunk guy who fireballed a whole bunch of people that I convinced the guards was guilty of conspiring against?
That was one of his
No,
other
he was-
characters, Nomad. But anyways, Eric argued with me for 40 minutes about why and how his character would go about in the world arguing for the inclusion of males into the Risen and the ability for them to join the government, and press for the change of Ililnagai's culture, and that is why they are still a matriarchy, but drifting towards equality. Years and years of work.
You say equality. It'll all get ruined now that the penis is...
Move aside, ladies.
Sounds like rock kind of country. Too bad it's not here. Rest in peace.
Anyways,
It is his kind of country. It's where he's from.
I know.
My face when Brock's just dead next time we see him. My face when I have no face.
inside the hut-like house, Urkus is going to feel very, very back at home, as it was his home. The scene before him.
You feel at home because you've been home.
The scene before him, there is a large spectral wolf sitting down. It is about 8 feet in height. It is sitting between a woman dressed in blue who is kneeling on the ground. She has a document in her lap. And leaning on the wall next to her is Hauzik. In the back side of the room, there is another woman with red and black hair thumbing through books. As you guys enter into the house, she turns around and says, "Oh, they're finally here." The wolf spirit looks to Urkus and says, "Welcome home, son."
It's nice to see you again, Dad.
Alright,
Are any of us gonna just, like, notice all the fact that we're in a room with a fucking spirit wolf?
okay, questions for Hauzik.
Yes.
Has he been in this town long?
He's probably been here for 2 days. The spirit has not let anybody question the quote-unquote oracle.
Alright. Within those 2 days, has Hauzik been in the presence of the spirit wolf before today?
Yeah, he's seen it. It doesn't really... it's not like any of the other spirits people claim these things are. Most of them are claimed to be mindless.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm getting at. Hauzik is intrigued by mystery. So this spirit wolf who has, thoughts, apparently can speak to other beings.
Yes.
Hauzik would have interrogated him. I wanted to know if he was able to do that before the party came or not.
Alright, this would probably be your first time, being able to speak to him. As before, you've been accompanying the risen bureaucrat that you're with. And she's been in charge of most of the meetings before, finally giving up and like, fine, we'll wait on them to come. And then, you guys are just sitting here waiting. So that would be the conversation they were interrupting as they walked in. So we'll jump back real quick. And what would...
Jump back, kiss myself.
Yeah, what would Hausik's questions be? Because this massive wolf spirit would just be kind of docile, and just sitting there watching them. It's been said by all the villagers that it's not a threat. It just watches over the village.
Yeah. No, it's more of
just a massive wolf.
Right, yeah, I know, but it's a massive wolf that can talk, and it's obviously ethereal. So Hausik's like super interested in this, and he goes, "So I heard ethereal beings were mindless. When did you gain consciousness and recognition of yourself?"
He looks at you, swinging his head in your direction, and then puts his attention back on the woman sitting on the ground.
And then another like follow-up question is: you said you had a son. Is it also a wolf? Is it what kind of being is it? Is it also a spirit?
He looks at you once again. His eyes communicating the "I'm really not interested in this." I guess distant look to you. Before the woman in the back of the room would pipe up from her book and say, "Oh, you'll meet him."
Oh, is he coming here? Is that who we're waiting on?
He looks at you again, and then his mouth doesn't move, but he says yes.
Alright. Find that intriguing. And then, I guess at this point you could have the party come in.
Alright, yeah, at that moment, everybody else would enter into the scene.
Okay, and then Hausik, being enthusiastic that the sun is there, will go up to the party and go, wait, so you're the son of a spirit wolf? But you're a half-elf.
Bark.
It's like, do you? Well, I saw you speak the language earlier, so obviously you can say more than just bark. Do you have canine properties? Can I see your fangs? You okay?
No.
Yes, can't you see his tail?
And then I go, how was your raising? What was the earliest memory that you have of your?
Stepping around Urkus, Effie is going to enter into the room and drag Hausik to the side and say, "They sent you?"
Hi, Effie. Wait, I was in the middle of questioning. I need to know.
Oh, this is gonna be a day.
Yeah, she shoves Hausik to the side and says, "Don't mind him. He's from the university." She looks back at Hausik and says, "We've made progress on finding Dila. I'll update you later on it."
Alright, Hausik brushes himself off and goes, "Really? That's good. I've been wondering where, the mistress is. Oh yeah, where are my manners? My name's Hausik, what did I say his last name was? Neven. I think it was Hausik Neven." And I go up to shake hands with everybody after being dragged away.
Tristan grimaces at the hand and says, "And you're here to aid us."
Aid, research, it's the same thing.
I find that they are very much not the same thing.
They are if you put your mind to it.
Well, we'll see how long you survive with that kind of a mindset.
Gloomy guy. I then turn to shake the sailor's hand, the big burly one.
I'm gonna give you a really aggressive bro hug.
You feel a little bit uncomfortable with that's going on. That's Kristen.
Alvin will remember that.
I mean, Howzik is not a bad guy. He's just super interested about unnatural phenomena, like a wolf spirit having a child.
What's up?
So what's your name, buddy? Christian, my spine a little.
I will then aggressively push you back, and I'll be like, Roman Drake.
Roman Drake. Got it.
Oh God.
And then I turn to
with me. He's one of those.
I miss Brock.
I then turn to the half elf who I was questioning earlier. I go, this probably should have been my first question, but what's your name?
My name's Irkus. It's nice to meet you, and I'll hold my hand out for a handshake.
I will shake his hand gladly. Like, so far you seem normal. I still have way more questions for later. I then turn to the little girl who's with the party. I'm assuming she's shorter than me, so I bend over and go, what's your name?
Do you say it like a little, like looking like, how are you doing today? What's your
Wait, I want to know the tone here.
like I need to know the tone.
No, it's more like an innocent, just honest question. Not in a child. Not in a child.
I mean, I know she's a child, but she's taken a life.
Like, if you can't tell, I take everything with a sense of childish enthusiasm.
That's not going to get old at all.
She shakes your hand, saying nothing at first, and then says, "Oh, Jessica."
Jessica, huh? Well, nice to meet you, Jessica. I am Howzik.
She nods, still shaking your hand, before finally letting it go. Once all your introductions are done, the woman in the back of the room is going to walk around the wolf spirit and join the party, dusting off her dress, which looks oh, there we go. We'll just it's far too nice to travel in, and say, "All right, I'm ready to go. Let's go."
Wait,
What?
could someone explain this to us first?
Hippo Ray?
Yeah, she looks at the party and says, "Oh, we haven't met again. I'm sorry. I'm Hilbelry. We traveled to the university together."
We are?
The woman on the floor stands up and says, "Absolutely not. Not until you submit to the questions of the Risen, so we can properly document what occurred to you in the forest." Effie steps forward and says, "No, if she's under the university's watch, she has diplomatic leave, just like me."
Okay, so who did I come here with, or did I come by myself?
You were told that the Risen would be here investigating a matter that they were not prepared to handle.
Gotcha. So I would be like, I'm siding with FP. She does have diplomatic immunity and can leave whenever she wants.
So, Hammer, you can't sue.
The woman stands up and says she has diplomatic immunity inside the university, which, mind you, Terai, goes the same for you. Effie, still standing in the room, says, "And anytime you want to try and put me down, you're more than welcome to take a swing." But the 5 you've got outside the village, you're gonna need a lot more than that.
I lean over to the one making the. Oh crap! What's the name of the group again?
Risen?
The Risen. I'm going to forget that all day night. I turned over to the Risen lady and went, "Look, I've seen her fight. It's scary. I wouldn't test her."
Did you say this out loud or like in a whisper?
Well, kind of in a like I'm not trying to hide it.
Okay.
Also, like
can't
I feel like me and Effie are at like she's annoyed, but she doesn't hate me, and I'm telling the truth.
Yet.
Give her time. Also, you couldn't hide that if you wanted to. Not in this room. Not with this audience.
The woman exhales and says, "If you could just submit to the questioning, the Sky Queen might even have need of your services." Our Hilpelri is going to say, "Oh, now she wants my services." The woman standing there.
Can we just back?
Yeah.
Were you going
Is that what Urka says? Can we just back up?
Yeah. Can we just back up? What is even going on here?
The woman's going to point to her and say, "This woman was denied entry into the Risen. This woman was denied entry into the Risen a week ago, or rather, I'm sorry, 2 weeks ago, before she fled into the forest. And she's came back and caused quite a disturbance in this region, predicting people's future, telling events that haven't happened yet as though they were about to happen and then them coming true. We were dispatched here to collect her and understand at least a little of what happened to her."
I doubt your intentions, but the manner in which you said collect seems sinister.
The spirit in the room for the first time stands up. Its back rising to the top of the ceiling of the house and rising through.
Despite himself, Tristan takes a step backwards.
It steps forward and says, "Adrena, perhaps you should give me some time alone with my son and his companions. It is our first time meeting in nearly a month's time."
At the giant wolf spirit standing up, Hauzik wants to look for a piece of paper so he can start.
We're still in winter, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'm just trying to figure out because I didn't know like how long it's been since the previous event. So.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I did not say. It is the 10th of Priestess. It is the first week of the new year.
Okay.
It's 12 days since what happened in Ardor.
12 days since the massive explosion that destroyed half of the city.
When we left.
That's a different group's problem.
So, just as a note, Hauzik is like trying to get a quill and a pen and paper to start taking sketches of the giant wolf spirit as size references with the rest of the building.
Okay. Yeah, if he has one on him, he is able to do so. Otherwise, Urkus's house seems rather.
I do have a writing kit.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say it seems rather hunter focused.
Okay, so I have a writing kit, so I'm like grabbing my pen and paper, jotting down the notes that I was able to glean off the questions I had asked Urkus and his father, and then started drawing a sketch of his father standing fully upright.
She scowls and steps out of the door.
What was her name again?
Adrina.
How would that be spelled?
Adrina.
Okay. Okay.
I am going to stay in there until asked to leave. Because I'm assuming that I'm not part of this party because Effie and me have stuff. And I really want to continue researching this giant wolf spirit.
So it would be more like we look at you and you're like, oh, I'm with you guys now.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I'm with her. I'm with, the person. I'm with the girl who was leading your party here. Yeah, I'm with her. We came from the same place. We're here for the same reason.
My heart overflows with joy.
As she steps out, the spirit looks at the rest of the party, still standing in there, and looks to Urkus and says, "The things concerning her are things concerning your very nature. Is it something you wish for your friends to overhear?"
Might as well.
The number of times I've
Aren't I already vaguely aware of his nature? Wasn't it with Urkus when we talked to Draylen that one time?
I mean, he has no idea.
Yeah. I say, might as well. We've gone through a lot. Might as well have them hear what's going on, too.
If I must make a case for myself, I have saved your life.
Yes, you have. Yeah.
How did it just happen? He gets a free pass to information about Urkus's nature.
Welcome to the second leg. Housik is now the Roman of this group. Out of there.
Bodoff continues and says, "The child ran into the forest and made a deal with the forest witch. Foolish as it might be, the witch broke her bind on time. This is not something I knew that we could do. But regardless, it is done."
Housik speaks up. Who is this forest witch?
Isn't the Force Witch common knowledge, or at least a common myth?
Yeah, it is a common myth. Effie is going to speak up and say it's a spirit, it's a bound, and she points to Bodoff, who is still a marvel to her. It says, like him. However, it's intelligent, it's very smart. It's one of the only ones that can use, that can form magic.
At this, Housik perks up even more and is like, "There's a second one?" Does it also take the form of an animal, or is it human, or is it a humanoid?
It's a witch.
Effie shakes her
Wolves
head
are
and
people
says,
too.
Burn her.
it possesses whatever it can until the Elven Shadow Knights kill it, and it reincarnates every few years, and then they hunt it down again. She looks at Hilperi, or oh man, that's gonna kill me. Hipelri, there we go, Hipelri, and
That's your fault.
yeah, I know, kill me. That's all of it, little guy. There's tens of thousands of names like this, just from the naming conventions of the nation. Anyways, she looks at the girl before her and says, "So, wait, broke her bond on time? What?" Bodoff says, The one you see before you is not one, but many. I see her as many, as I have no binds.
That's helpful.
Wait, and this how it goes. So there's multiple entities within this one within her body.
She shakes her head and says, "No, I think I'm just me, but I'm not me anymore. I was me. Now I am me. It's very strange."
So there's the original entity within the body, and the other entities like give you sights and visions into the future. Is that kind of how this works?
She nods and says, "Actually, yeah. There's just lots of me's I can talk to."
Housick is turns into a different page and starts writing down Hip Hellreed's stuff because this is super intriguing.
And that lets you see into the future by those other yous being there?
Roman's just gonna nod.
She shrugs and says, "No, I only see now, but sometimes they tell me things."
So what it sounds like to Housick is that you're communicating with yourself from different parallel dimensions, and they are telling you what could happen if you decide to take this route, and either warning you to stay off it or telling you that you should take it instead.
She pipes up for a minute and says, "They all have different advice. So far, they've all came true with the things they've told me."
Wait, does that theory exist in this world? Like as a player, I'm asking you. Like, does that theory exist in
No,
this
it does not.
Okay.
Well, it's Housick's theory, and he's jotting it down in his paperwork.
Yeah,
Okay,
as far as I've
Okay.
told everybody in this game, for parallel dimensions and realms and stuff in this world, there are 3 planes. There is Ilderon, there is Providence, and there is the bridge.
Okay, so Housick's just talking crazy to us. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is crazy, but Housick's thinking is, look, if there could be a bridge and an afterlife, why couldn't there be another dimension? Why couldn't there be more than a second dimension? Why couldn't there be many?
10,000.
It's crazy talk, but Housick's ahead of his time.
Housick made
Housick made the parallel. People could think he's crazy. Fine, but
they'll be.
They're not
be
called
shit.
dimensions, they're called Housicks. They're parallel Housicks.
Parallel Housick's.
gotta get that name recognition now beforehand. Right.
How big is the house? Yeah, it's 2 Housicks tall. Or 2 Housicks wide. That dimension though is only half a Housick.
That dimension is 2 Housicks away. Okay.
The spirit, or rather Bodoff before you says, "This is not something ever supposed to be done to mortals like you, and was never my intention to explain the magics that keep us here." Effie raises a hand and says, "And you're sharing this with us now because why?" And he points to, or rather he doesn't point, he looks at the girl and says, "Because this one has made a foolish mistake and given away something to the witch. And each time she fulfills a desire, she takes something else that she needs."
So what's been taken away from you so far? Howzit asks Hipelri.
Yeah, Hipelri is going to say, well, other than my ability to just be alone, nothing.
Howzit also turns to Bodov and then goes, "What other things are you not supposed to tell us?"
I need to open your folder called stuff.
Yeah.
Not porn. Show me all porn.
Once again, in the way that he has been for the past 2 days, he swings his head towards you with a very dry expression for a wolf spirit, and then looks back to the group.
That's where I get it from.
Well, no mystery of family resemblance there.
Hey, can you tell us that stuff you're not supposed to tell us?
Please? Can I roll a persuasion check to see if I can get it?
Yeah, you can.
You can.
If I help the wolf, does that impose disadvantage?
No, you can roll a persuasion check. It is a DC.
I rolled a 20.
You gonna add anything else onto your statement other than please?
I believe that the world has come far enough along to where we will not abuse the things that you will tell us.
I feel like that's more of a deception.
No, I am honest. Like, I honestly believe that. Is
Howzik's like secret goal though to build the ultimate weapon?
Yeah, but he's not going to use it. He just wants to build it and see if he can. That's Howzik's entire deal.
Oh,
It's a challenge. It's not a goal.
Hi,
Like,
I've made the nuclear bomb. Science is great. Who wants it?
now, can I make it better?
yeah, that would be the next question. Can I make it better? What is the best?
Yeah, on that, persuasion check, Howzik is, going to, or Howzik, yeah, can you tell us? Wait, I actually know, let me tell you guys. No, Bodov is going to say, there are forms of magic, mortals have come to understand, ranging in the arcane and divine. These were meant and gifted to them. The third they discovered on their own and is a perversion mixing the two. The soul magic of Ryekraft.
Ooh, I know that.
There is a
Dangerous.
there is a fourth of dealing with the fabric that binds all reality. And that is bind breaking. This was never meant for them to use. He looks to Hipelri and says, "Her binding to time has been broken."
Would that mean she doesn't age?
Why is there not a note section on this thing?
Yeah, she shrugs and says, "Hey, I just had a simple request and it got answered. I didn't ask for all this fallback. I'm sorry."
What did you ask for?
She begins to blush heavily and looks down and says, if I'd ever get into the Risen.
Oh, I thought it was going to be something else.
Wow, that backfired horribly.
She nods and says, the witch showed me my future and didn't stop with just that.
Okay, so that answers what happened to you. And I'm assuming you saw a future that involved you joining us for something? You know for what?
She nods and says, "Oh yeah, loads of things."
I know stuff and things.
Oh, you want to know those things?
Let's hold off. What? All right. Is it extremely dangerous? Just
She
around that.
she wraps her fists against your father. Everybody notices his fur imprints underneath her hand as actually tangible. And she says, "Wow, your son's smart. I wish I would have been as smart as him." He looks down at her and says, when somebody asks to know the future, they should understand instinctually that it's not meant to be known." She shakes her head and says, "Please stop berating me." He
does that.
Yeah, he still has a dry expression on his face and says, "You are a fool for what you have done."
Housing speaks up and goes, "I believe that this is ingenious. She has managed to do something that nobody else has done."
At what cost?
But at what cost?
What cost? Apparently her ability to be alone so far, but other than that, I don't see any downside.
Yet.
Okay.
She raises a hand and says, "Well, the me that dies keeps telling me when and where it happens. It's kind of unnerving."
I would say so, yeah. Okay. Does anybody else have any issues her going with us?
I don't. Hal's super okay with going with her so he can question her more about her experience in the forest. And, like, the ordeals that came from her soul being broken from the fabric of time.
Our Bodoff, or rather, Effie's going to say towards Bodoff and say, "You're okay with her being held at the university?" The wolf spirit nods and says, "It was your mistress who granted our town, or is your mistress who granted our town the ability to be free of Alil Nagai's laws." Effie looks to her and says, "Alright, we can take her to the university if that's okay with you." She looks back to the party.
I'm sure this is the best idea.
It's the least dangerous thing we probably are taking with us.
Are you certain? We've known this woman for, I don't know, maybe less than an hour, and the only thing that we've determined so far is that she's a very controversial topic.
Once again, I've already voiced my opinion. I believe that this is a great idea.
Tristan glances towards Hozak and says, "And we've known you for approximately the same amount of time, and the only thing that you've proven is that you're very annoying."
Hey, Effie's known me longer. I'm very valuable.
Effie, can you attest to this?
Effie is going to roll a history check and then look suddenly ashamed and say, "I try and pay attention to who comes through the university gates, but I don't really always. Haven't had many conversations with him."
No, but we take like a lot of the same classes. I even took one of your courses.
She scratches her head and says, Oh, yeah, I remember him. You were the student. Did you blow yourself up in advanced war magic?
Maybe. But I was trying to make it more efficient.
Everybody looking at Effie can clearly tell that she is shooting in in the wind here.
Also, I would like to note.
Try look now. That is my new thing.
I would also like to point out to the DM that Effie apparently recognized him enough to pull him aside and go, "Why did the university send you?"
Do you have like an insignia?
She knows the people in the university. She also knows the people of note in the university. Meaning, why did they send you? Why did they send you? What do you do?
Oh, I thought it was more of, why did they send you? Oh god, this was a bad decision. Not,
well,
who the fuck are you?
Because she doesn't know who the fuck you are.
Yeah, Effie recognizes you, but she doesn't know you. She doesn't know you closely.
I am ashamed.
So, random aside, because it's bugging me, who has the dagger?
Effie has it.
Okay.
Oh, can...
I mean, I would...
The dagger gives off a presence, right?
Yes. When it's not contained in its box.
Okay, so I don't know, like, would housing feel that presence or not?
Not unless she opened it. Now you would
Okay.
you would smell Tristan whenever you got close to him. It's just burning sulfur.
We need to get Tristan one of those boxes.
By the way, though, as you guys are debating the usefulness of people, Hilbelry is going to chime in and say, "Wait, I can be useful. I can help all of you out." She looks to Tristan and says, "Don't use that mirror to scry on Winrona. When you do, it only makes things worse for her." She goes to the next person and says, and before she can, Effie spins around, slamming a shoulder or her hand into her shoulder and pushing her against Bodoff, and says, "What?" She says, I'm there when he uses it for the first time to see her, looking over his shoulder. Things only get worse for
her. More things. Is a magical mirror of scrying common?
No. Well,
no?
you would know. Yeah, you would know you need a mirror to scry. It is one of the requirements for the spell.
I mean, yeah, but a magical mirror that can scry on its own.
Yeah, you would, Hosik would know that people at the university, divination experts, have tried scrying on Winrona, and it has produced no results.
Okay. So
either in the aspect of the spell has failed, or that she's dead. However, the entire world knows that she is practically unkillable because she just keeps being reborn.
Alright, so at this, Houzik turns to Tristan and goes, "You have a magical mirror that can scry on Rhinona? How is that possible? What kind of mirror is it?"
It's a magic mirror, and yes.
Tristan will say, "I have 5 very convincing answers for you." He shows him the palm of his hand and then makes a fist and says, 5.
At that, Houzik goes, "That's not an argument, or very convincing."
I know one very dead merchant who would like to tell you why you're wrong.
I'm serious, by the way. I'd like to punch Houzik in the face.
I mean, roll.
Yeah, I was gonna say, roll an attack if you wanna punch him in the face.
Attack roll. Attack roll.
Let's see. I only have I'm proficient in simple and martial weapons. Am I proficient in unarmed? I would assume no. Alright, hold up. Roll20 is being slow for me.
I want to say that's no unless you have Tavern Brawler or like a Monk Dude.
I don't think Tavern Brawler makes you proficient in arm strikes. It just makes them hurt more.
Okay, there we go. Strength check.
Sadness, that hits.
Alright, for Tristan, JD, go ahead and roll me a wisdom save, DC 19.
Curses.
Alright, you go to, punch Housick in the face, perfectly landing the strike. Your fists stop short of his, just short of his face. Our Bodoff, who is now sitting in the room, looks down and says, those in this village are under my protection while they're here. And he looks to Housick and then to Hilpery. Or
Hilpery.
Yeah, there we go. We're just gonna go with that. Hilpery. Yeah. Hilpery. There we go. And it says, no matter how foolish their mistakes were, they are still under my protection.
Tristan raises an eyebrow. No matter how infuriating they are.
He nods and says, once you are outside the city's gates and past my influence, feel free to do whatever you wish to his face.
Housick,
pleasure.
Housick with, understanding now the implications of that 5 fingers of no, is intimidated enough to go, well, I guess we could go back to this topic at a much more convenient time.
Quite.
Right. So, Hilpery, what do you mean it makes it worse?
She looks and says, oh, now you want to know the future. Alright. And your father looks down at her and says, these are not thoughts you should have access to.
There's no way to stop it, is there, Dad? Like, to remove this ability from her?
He shakes his head and says, it's, once it's been broken, only one can put it back together.
Housick turns around and goes, who is the one that can put things back together from, I wrote it down in my notes.
Would it be the witch?
No, fine breaking magic.
He's gonna roll an insight. He's gonna roll an insight check, and go to answer, and then turn towards Housick, snarling a little, and say, "I told you this is not magic for you to understand." I was like, who's the one who put... Oh, it's... Wait a second!
Well, like, if we want to reverse the tragedy, we have to know how to do so.
You're not the person I want having that information.
He knows. Hold on. Where is that?
But as you guys are sitting there looking, Hilpery is going to say, well, she's being held somewhere. You guys scry on her. You see her, and she's down there, and she's like, she's chained and everything, and it's awful. There's like I think 3 anti-magic circles of something the lady mentions called foreboding. Effie corrects her and says forbearance.
Forbiddance?
Or yeah, I'm
Parent.
sorry for forbiddance. That one.
Oh.
And Hilbelry is going to nod eagerly and say, "Yeah, that." And she talks to you guys, and then the person keeping her sees that they didn't put up enough wards and increases them, also hurting her several times in the process. While you guys watch, but regardless, it doesn't get you any closer to finding her. It, just gets her tortured a little more.
So, Halsik at this information goes, if we have Hipelri, why do we need a magical mirror scrying? Her future state is essentially scrying.
Because it's possibly dangerous for her, but then again, I'm gonna look at her. You see this stuff without even trying, don't you?
She shakes her head and says, "No, me keeps telling me."
Okay, so you keep telling you, and you can't just ignore it. You just hear it.
She nods and says, "It doesn't happen all the time, though. It's a strange few times it occurs, but when they're around, they're around."
Do they tell you other things aside from the future? Like, I don't like the taste of this chocolate or other stuff like that?
I think we can. You can ask these questions to her later.
Later, when we're not pressed for time.
Oh, yeah. Sure. I guess that's true.
Actually, Tristan turns to her. Are we pressed for time?
She shakes her, or actually, she's going to shake her head and say, "No, I don't think you guys are."
Then,
He'll glance back to the wolf spirit and say, "What is there to do in this town? What amenities do you have?"
He'll stand and say, "Oh, we hunt on the edge of the forest. The other creatures of the bound that wander too far south, I ensure they don't get into the village and possess any of the villagers. Other than that, we are a very northern town for a little guy to control. This is a peaceful town for refugees and outlanders."
Could I run a history check for Urkus to tell him stuff?
Yeah.
I guess within the town. All right, let's see if I can.
like, there's a fair and a festival around next weekend with fireworks.
See what I get.
A nat 20.
Oh, nat 20.
Nat 20.
Brock's curse of history has been lifted.
Urkus is going to... Urkus lives here, Urkus knows the fanfare of the area. He is going to know that just a little bit outside the town's borders, to the west, there are a group of swindlers and charlatans that make a living basically hustling the Ililnagai government. They come through the town a lot. They're good people to talk to. He is also going to know that many Forest Falls, just on the road that it sits in, many people travelers pass through often, just trading various trinkets and doodads. There's lots of those past here. It's actually where Urkus got his ticket to the Sage's party. Was from one of the travelers coming through. My role specifically. Then he is also going to know the things in this south area are some of the more weaker things. It's as it is on the south side of the river. The Brenderai from Alyan don't come south of the river, so anything that escapes the Shadow Knights there generally wanders this part of the forest, which is the most dangerous parts of the forest. So that is why his father lives at the top of the village. Other than that, it is a pretty small village. There is a temple here for the Sun Yith. However, it hasn't been manned by anybody in ages since Urkus's father started protecting the village. So it was weird for him to see Sun Yith officials outside the town.
Sounds like this is the headquarters for the black market trade.
Shh! Don't tell anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I will. Yeah, that's what I've told Tristan.
All that.
All of that. That.
I see. So, do we have any leads on where our hapless prisoner is?
As eyes in the room begin to fall on Hilbelry, she's gonna point to herself and say, "Wait, you're asking me?"
Well,
I could be asking one of the people in the room who doesn't have psychic powers that allow them to see outside of the flows of time, or I could ask the one who does have those things.
Or you can ask a magic mirror.
Yeah, she points
I'm
like,
curious to
"You're
see
the
how that
one who
works."
used the mirror." Oh, you haven't did it yet. Yeah.
Right, you said it would be worse.
She nods and says, "I forgot when I was." It's a crit,
That must be annoying.
I think. It's dark. There are dead people around, or were. She's closing her eyes and mouthing words in between each time she's talking.
Perhaps will be?
Is she giving off any essence that she's using magic, or does it look like she's just trying to remember?
It looks more like she's trying to remember than using magic. It also looks like the information's coming to her sporadically.
Okay. How's this going to pipe in? I was like, I think it would be better if we just, like, use some other source of information until one of hers speaks to her. It seems like we should just let it happen naturally instead of asking her to ask them.
Yeah. We might want to take our artifacts to the university first.
At this, how's this going to turn around and go, artifacts? You have more than one than just the mirror?
I opened my big mouth.
I turn to Arcus and say, thank you. Thank you for openly revealing...
Roman is going to put up his left and then his right hand, and he's like, Exhibit A, Exhibit B. Let me tell you all about how I saved Artist Terra.
Effie is going to nod and says, "More secrets to be deposited in the vault.
Ooh, what kind of secrets?
Probably not the kind that they're going to tell you about.
They need to refer you to Exhibit A and Exhibit B again.
This is like, and I turn to Roman and go, +1 knuckles, not super interesting. They're obviously not the things that are going to be deposited into the.
Maybe deposited into your face when we get to the border.
How's it turns to Effie and goes, this could probably help me in my research. Can you please tell me what they are?
Hipelry says, you find out eventually. Effie looks to her and says, how? She goes on to explain, and before she can, Bodoff says, so are you guys going to sit here learning every minute of the future before you rather than experiencing it?
How's it turns
that option available to us, don't we?
How's it turns to Bodoff and goes, I prefer the thrill of the chase. So
Right.
I enjoy actively pursuing the mystery than having the mystery told
I
to
was a
me.
little interested. I don't trust this newcomer around one of our artifacts.
Which one?
Which one do you think?
No, I said which newcomer.
Um, Either.
Do you guys want to stay the day in the village, or do you want to leave today?
What time is it?
Yeah. Is it getting dark, Brandon?
Oh, yeah, you guys got here at midday. It is not something you ever really have to worry about, though, at Forest Fall, as it is a pleasant little village. As long as your father's been here, nobody in the village has ever been, attacked on the roads at night. Not within the village.
Well, it's more of, like, is it time for bed? Should we save this for tomorrow? Can we keep on interrogating these people?
No. It is still prime business time. It's
Okay.
midday having this conversation.
How's it motions to move locations? Since, well, I shouldn't say that. Housing has no reason to leave this majestic spirit animal who obviously knows about magic, but he does not. And needs
I was going to
information.
say, why would we have any reason to listen to Housing?
Housing, please get out of my house.
Damn. Got him.
Yeah. I was gonna. All right, so we can resupply in the village and leave, or we can just go ahead and head on out.
Hilbelry is going to say, "Oh, resupplying's a good idea. He eats a lot." Pointing at Tristan.
Yes, it would appear that I do.
You sound like this is not the norm for you.
Do I?
Have fun answering all those questions, Tristan. We're going to go buy stuff.
All right, so I'll turn to Perry and tell her, okay, why don't we do this? Unless it's incredibly important, you might not want to speak out.
She
About the future.
she nods and makes a gesture, zipping her lips, turning a key and then putting it in her pocket.
Okay, I'll smile or not. Thank you. We want to avoid any issues, especially with random people. Just hear you randomly tell them the future.
How's this going to turn to Bodoff and go, is she free to leave your presence now?
he nods and says, she was never a prisoner. Only one who sought protection.
Well, I meant it more of as, are you done protecting her? Can I, like, ask her questions in a separate room? I am intrigued by her. Well, I'm not going to say this to Bodolf, but more of, I'm intrigued by her powers. Good to know that she can leave and go talk to me in a separate room. You are not listening to us.
I'm just imagining the dry look.
Subtlety. Thy name is...
Howzik.
Hosking.
Howzik.
Hosing.
Like, how's it going?
Yeah. He, as you ask that, he says, beware of what you, discover and what you find out. There are those who seek to use it, including her.
By her, was he looking at anyone specifically?
No, but you guys pretty much know who, he's referring to.
I'm assuming he's referring to Hipelri.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'll tell Hipelri, if you don't feel comfortable telling someone the future or about this ability of yours, you don't have to.
She's going to nod and say, just try. Okay. And she shakes her head and says, I apologize. Everything I say is layered with so much information I already know.
That's fine. Probably gonna be rough for you rather than just blurting out loud what happens.
So, are we all gonna, like, leave the house and go do our separate things?
Yeah, if that is what you guys want to do, you're able to do that in the village. Let me do some math for you.
Math?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 1.5 is like what, 9?
Yes.
I don't believe you, Jordan.
I'm a math major. I have a bachelor's degree that says I'm good at this stuff.
He good at math.
Yeah.
He good at numbers.
So it's about a week's travel to Sky's Reach from where you guys are at. So it would you guys would need food or rations for that much travel, unless you can produce it magically safely.
I can hunt.
Yeah, Urkus can hunt. Can you hunt the 6 times food that Tristan needs, though?
Oh no, he buys his own food.
Yeah.
Wait, how many days is it?
It is.
Correction. I have the spell Create Food and Water.
I have
I
a
can
decanter
create
of endless
45
water.
pounds of food, enough to sustain up to 15 humanoids.
So basically,
He can supply his own food and water. Good to know.
yeah, you can supply 9 people plus Tristan.
And there are 3,
Thank you
4,
very
5.
much.
There's like what, 6 other people. He can supply it for all of us.
I don't know if I want to supply for you. You're new.
I don't trust you yet.
If we have a steed, it counts as 3 people.
Yeah, as you guys are having this discussion, Hipelri has her hands over her mouth, and she is tapping her foot like and
Trying not to talk.
Yeah.
Spit it out!
Don't spit it out.
She's trying really hard.
So, Howzik wants to talk with Epi and get up to speed onto where their mistress is and what kind of lead she has.
All right. Yeah, so as you guys walk out of the building,
Oh no, I was gonna stay and talk to my
okay.
dog man.
Alright.
Spend time with him. I don't know what to talk about, so that could be something that just happens.
Yeah. The rest of the party walks out. As the rest of the party walks out, Adrina's going to be standing there with her 2 guards and says, "Good, is he done in there? Are we allowed to go back in?"
He's talking with his son right now. I don't know if they want quality personal time or not, but that is for you to decide.
She looks to Hipelri and says, "You're moving around. Please note, as soon as you're out of the influence of that wolf spirit and we can, my guards will grab you."
Try.
She nods and says, I'll be traveling to the university, and you won't have to worry about me. She puts her hand over her mouth and says, "Yes, ma'am."
I love it. We have a blabbermouth.
It's Nathan. It's Nathan all over again. Except we don't know the things she knows.
But she knows everything.
Instead of just being like, "Oh yeah, when you killed Kron," it's like, God damn it. It'll be like, "Hey, when you killed Kron, we killed Kron?"
Well, it was the clear indication of she was starting to tell the future of what she was going to do at the university, and she was just like, "Oh, yeah, I can't not supposed to do that."
Haven't done that yet. Just not realizing that. Feels like it was only yesterday, but it's actually tomorrow.
Leaving
Get real old real fast.
yeah, leaving from the house, walking towards the few merchants in town. You guys are able to find what type of food were you guys looking for? Or what were you guys looking for in particular?
What were we looking for in particular?
Howzik just wants to talk with Effie and get up to speed on what's been going on.
Yeah. In private or just with the rest of the party?
In private.
Okay.
Like it's college stuff. Like it's college information. Like the other people are not members of the college, so for the university. So
when you pull Effie aside, she is gonna say, honestly, everything's been dark. Every trail that I could have thought to investigate while I was over there, nothing. The lead I found is a mirror that was able to scry on people despite wards against it, and it takes some substantial means to power it, which we've yet to obtain. Or would Tristan have told people that he can use the mirror yet?
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah, and she'd say, which we've yet to obtain, but once we do, we'll be able to...
However, What's-Her-Face did just kind of spill the beans, like, a second ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, she spilled the beans that you're going to use it.
not when or
how or
whether you were able to now or not.
Yeah. And she'd say, which we've yet to power, but once we do, like she said, we'll at least get a glance that she's still alive and that she's someplace.
Well, I guess with the information that Capelri has told us, we do at least know that she is alive. She's obviously not in the best of conditions, and we also don't know why she was kidnapped. Do we?
She shakes her head and says, no. She told me of her last location before she left on that mission, but that was ages ago.
And then he's gonna be like,
Who was it?
no, it's more like,
she has been missing since before the First of Father. That is the last official time when somebody said, "Hey, if she had died, she should have been reborn and teleporting back to the university by this point."
Halzik's gonna go and who, like, I called out their names, but how did you meet those guys?
She shakes her head and says, "Long story, getting caught up in things that I probably shouldn't have been, but were a necessary detour."
So, do you have the mirror on you right now? Or, like, can we use it tonight?
She shakes her head and says it comes with a mental burden, not one that all of us can carry, so the cleric carries it as his will is the strongest.
That explains why he smelled of sulfur.
But she nods and says, "So your report on her back to the university? It's attempt to climb the ranks or something more?"
Nope, it was just an errand, and I was intrigued by how one could tell the future without having magical prowess before the magical prowess or the magical know-how beforehand. This is merely an errand. It doesn't even involve my research. But what the wolf spirit Boldoff was saying, that's piqued my that can potentially help my research quite a bit.
She nods and says, "Well, yeah, Winrona would love to sit here and study under this thing for some time, but for the first several years of his existence, he was nearly always silent, and when he spoke, said nothing else of note. To think all this time he had understanding of magical applications beyond us."
I know. It's like one of the best discoveries ever. I wish he would have been more open to us about what you can do with it and how to control it.
She nods and she looks down at her fists, clenches it into a ball, and moves it quickly towards your face. Once again, it stops before making contact with your face. Again, she...
Flinching?
Huh?
2 for flinching?
Yeah, if Hozik flinches, doesn't matter. Again, she brings another fist, this time aimed at his gut. It's stopping once before hitting his stomach.
Okay. Did I say something to offend you?
No, she says it's weird. He has a effect on this whole village. I actually can't bring myself to hurt you.
At this,
With a tinge of sorrow in her voice.
at this, Halzik takes out his notebook and goes, "This is intriguing. I wonder what else he can influence. Like maybe the weather, or maybe the growth of the plants. I wonder if he could probably influence the person, like the happy, the emotions of the people here."
As you are saying this, Effie is trying different ways of inflicting pain on you, including claws, trying to pinch you, slow methods of digging her nail into your skin, all of which stop just before any of them would hurt. With her not freezing in place, but pulling back.
That's an amusing picture in my mind.
Housing is perfectly okay with this tutorial on the powers of the spirit world. He's like, this is very, very intriguing. And then he turns to her and goes, "Are you pulling back on purpose? Or are you pulling back out of, are you pulling back because you willingly pulling back, or are you pulling back because there's a force making you do so?"
She shakes her head and says, "Both. I want to see if I can, but each time I don't want to."
How's it, man? How's curiosity has been piqued?
Effie's too, as a intellectual.
How's
Regardless,
it-
she shakes her hand and
I'm
says,
intellectual.
"Yeah." She shakes her hand and says, "We'll have to figure it out later, though. For now, we have a wealth of items we need to get to the vault."
Oh yeah, about those items. I heard there was more than one. I can understand the mirror, but what's the other one? Is there more than two?
Effie looks back at you and says, "It will be buried in the vault." Starts walking towards the party.
How's it goes to stop her and he goes, "And that's why I need to know now before I can't learn about it anymore. Can you at least tell me what it is and what it does?"
She's going to look. She's going to look around and say, "It's something bearing the magics of old, severing souls, and a weapon that doesn't quite follow the normal functions of magic."
Since Hauzik has studied, and it's in his background that he studied both Earthfire weapons and Riotcraft, he's going to ask, is it a Riotcraft weapon? Or, like, is it something more older than that?
She nods and says, "It's a weapon forged with the magic of souls. I don't pretend to understand it in completion, but know enough that things like this shouldn't be made in mass."
How's it go? How's it then ask? Is it a perfected weapon, or is there side effects to this?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, she's going to shake her head and say, "I haven't seen it used, and I haven't seen it used properly. I've only had descriptions of the after effects of it."
So I'm just gonna. So she's seen the after effects. I guess she hasn't seen it be used. Like I was seeing, like, she's obviously weaving her words.
Yeah, she's heard of the after effects of it.
Oh yeah, she wasn't there during the fight. Okay, so yeah, never mind. She hasn't seen anything about it.
Yeah, you know when professors talk like this, it's some subject of forbidden magic.
Yeah, well, that is all my research is about.
Yeah.
It's forbidden magic. So, like, the fact that I'm even getting a little bit is enough for me to go, Okay, this is definitely going to help my research. I really need to know more.
Hey, you know who knows? Hilpelry.
Yeah, but I want to discover it for myself. I really want to know where the dagon
I
is.
mean, you were the one that didn't want to listen to the thrilling tale of how Roman Drake saved Artis Sarai.
Given a MacGuffin. Nah, I don't think I'll use it.
We're gonna jump over though to Urkus and inside the house. As the rest of the party leaves, Adrena steps back in before Urkus can get time alone with his father, and she asks,
Rude.
can you please just lower whatever you're doing to this village so we can take her? We honestly just don't want her falling into the wrong hands. After the Risen assess her abilities and what she can do, she'll be a free citizen again.
And the university is the wrong hands?
She looks at Urkus and then puts a hand on her face and says, I don't know how to say this properly, but do you think your friends are equipped to handle everything they can face on the roads from here to Sky's Reach?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, probably.
She puts a hand on her chest and says, but no one would dare attack a member of the Risen and a Order of the Sun Yith.
And who would attack us?
A member of the Risen and the Order of the Sun Rift.
That's what I'm not saying.
Exactly who you'd expect.
She points outside the door and says, the man who escorted you here came chasing rumors. He's the first fanatic of many that would gather around her.
And, alright. How many know what she looks like?
She shakes her head and says, her image is public record for those who would seek it. She applied to join the Risen. A sketch of her has been made, but as of right now, very few.
Right. And so, as long as it doesn't get out of hand, as long as no one shouts to the world, this is this person, the person that can see the future, there is no issue for us to take her. We are a small band of travelers. I think the most famous person we have on our group, Effie, no one is looking for us. Why would anyone come after us?
She nods and says, just make sure you get her directly to the university then. The Risen and Sky's Reach that deal with the university will then have it'll then be their job to handle her. Just know that I tried to save us all the heartache of going through the process of the capital. The bureaucrats there are heartless. This is a region that I'm in charge of that I try to manage properly.
Thank you for that. It's just, you have a large group, which is people would recognize as something important, especially if you're escorting one young lady for seemingly no reason. They could assume she's someone important. So you do really kind of stand out. I understand you would probably be able to handle any issues, but we have a likely chance of avoiding issues if we're just a small group of people that no one knows.
What's this? Strategy?
Yeah.
On My watch.
She bows gracefully and says, Bodoff, Urkis, it's been a pleasure meeting you. Bodoff.
Please, Bodoff is my father.
Mr. Bodoff.
Bodoff nods respectfully and says, Adrena of Purity. And she turns and leaves.
Alright, I'll nod and... I don't know, I'll nod.
He'll nod.
I'll nod.
One thing can be sure, he's nodding.
Just constantly repeating the word he nods.
Yeah. As once you guys are finally alone, Bodoff lays down and says, "How were your travels to Arterserai?"
The travel there wasn't too eventful. I got it was relatively calm. The issues started popping up after I arrived at the capital. It was exciting.
Went to a party,
Yeah,
met a bunch of people, saw someone get kidnapped, saw someone else die.
Yeah, I went to a party. That's where I met most of my group that you saw. We got involved in a few conspiracies.
Had a wedding.
One of our friends was kidnapped, and then he married his kidnapper. It was, and then I worked for his kidnapper. She was a nice lady.
It all worked out in the end.
He as he's laying down, he's nodding with eyes closed and says, "And tell me of the strange gods they worship there."
I have no idea how I would say that, like, as a character. Would I roll something for that, Brandon? Like, how well he explains it.
Yeah, you can roll it as a charisma check, but Urkis and a Lil Nagai, you guys, the country is pretty much monotheistic behind the god of creation, and once again, I told you guys, Arterserai is the pagan nation of the world, worshipping these weird new living gods.
Yeah, no, I'd like to explain to him what I know about the gods and how I met one of them, Umiya.
Yeah. You can either try and explain it, or you can just roll a charisma check, and it'll be how good or bad Urkis does.
Let's go see how bad my charisma is. The best charisma score I've ever gotten.
Now, after Urkis recounts his events with Umiya, would he just describe her to his dad, or would he describe his interactions with her?
Can I do both?
You can. And what I'm getting at is, would Urkis tell his father about what Umiya said about his soul?
I will describe her.
That you don't have one.
I will describe her as like what she is, but the describing what she had told me is something I don't know. I'll say it sort of as an addendum, like, but there's something else that happened while I was there, and then I'll explain to him what she told me. But I don't have a soul or something, or my soul is cursed.
Specifically that your soul carries around a taint that she can never heal, as it has been scarred. He
nasty.
Yeah, he perks up at that and says, those gods exist in the same state as the girl you saw before you, and as me.
Unbound by time.
He nods and says, unbound by all the bindings that hold us. You must think of them as knots that hold the very being of who you are together. Untying one lets that loose, and once you untie more than all of them, you he looks down at himself and then looks up and says, but they are different. They untied them all and exist as they are. I can see this clearly as I am now. But the taint you carry is not a taint, but instead a weakening of these bonds.
Oh my god, Urkis is the fifth ascendant.
Oh no!
My face went.
Yeah, my face went. Oh, I'm a god? What?
He shakes his head and chill out, pup. I love you. He shakes his head and runs it across Urkus's shoulder and says, no, it is because of my presence that your bondings have been weakened. I stayed much longer than I should have, and I'm sorry for that.
Is it my any danger to those around me?
He shakes his head and says, no one except the bound can access this magic. No one can see those the knots of your being, except for others who have already had theirs broken. He looks out the door and says, the one who travels with you can see one specifically. But she knows not how to break yours, so you need not worry.
What would happen if it was broken?
He looks away from you and says, honestly, I do not know. When your mother and father died, he looked down and says, this is the only way I could think to keep you safe.
Well, let's just hope it doesn't happen.
Feels sad, man.
Feels bad, man. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what else to say here.
Very, very solemnly, he looks backwards towards the forest and says, the forest witch breaks, but also strengthens. Whatever you request of her, she will take something. And he sits down looking towards the forest and says, I would not blame you for seeking her counsel in something like this, as she is the only of our kind that knows it, or that understands it.
I'd rather not. Not unless it's absolutely dire.
He nods and says, I see, but I cannot manipulate.
I got. I have nothing. Yeah, I guess you can go back to the other rest of the party.
Alrighty. I mean, that would pretty much handle everybody's business in Forest Fall. Does the party want to do anything?
Other than create loads of food for myself to eat, and then not offer any to bro.
The emptiness.
Feels sad, man.
It's a party. It's a part. It's a feast for Tristan.
+9.
I make food for everybody.
Mm.
And I'm like, look, no, see, we don't need to buy any trail weapons because I can just do this ad infinitum.
And then I would just note, it's like, I got this thing that, we don't need water.
Well, the spell is called Create Food and Water.
Do you create both?
Food. Yes. It's 45 pounds of food and 30 gallons
But
of water.
it's so bland. Let's buy spices.
It is bland.
Can you make it not bland? I feel like it's bland.
The spell says it is bland but nourishing. Like, it is like eating bread every day. Like, it gets you by, but there's no flavor to it.
Just eat a calorie, mate.
I feel like this is the part to mention where it's like, Roman knows how to cook, if that matters. I'm a man of many skills.
In the town, although Forest Fall does see a lot of travelers, it is a very homely town. There isn't an official inn or tavern. However, there are people that open their homes up to travelers. If you guys are not feasting at Urkus's house, the other place in the lower village that you would be having this feast at would be at a woman's house named Thavern.
You know what?
Who offered you guys shelters.
In an effort to endear myself to all of the locals, I will burn all 3 of my 3rd level slots and my 4th level slot on Create Food and Water and offer food to everybody.
They're like, man, this really sucks. But
It really sucks, but
I encourage the use of salt.
Maybe a pinch of paprika.
Salt, which Tristan has in abundance.
You know it.
Just let Houseick open his mouth. Seasoning.
Howzick's going to, one, just look for magical weapons or a library. Make sure there's nothing here he doesn't already know about. Don't know if you want me to give you an investigation check or perception check or what.
In Forest Fall, yeah, you can give me an investigation check during the feast. Is anybody eating specifically with Hilpelry?
Roman could probably keep an eye on her.
I'm gonna try. I didn't know to tell you. You knew telepathically what I wanted.
During the meal, while eating, she engages with several games with the villagers there, including the man who led you there, Muxin. Guessing numbers and other things that they are trying to hide from her. If Roman doesn't stop her, he's going to notice she only gets it right about 60% of the time.
Interesting.
Okay.
They're dust.
So I guess Ericus would have been done with his dad and joined them at this point. Alright, is there any way I could, like, pull her aside for a moment?
Yeah, you can interrupt this immediately as you guys... by the way, so let me take a extra second to describe Hilpelri. She has dyed black hair. Her hair, you can see bits and pieces of it from her journey, is stark red like Effie's. She is in a very elaborate dress that does not look at all suited for traveling. It looks like she just stepped out of her risen exam, and not a second has passed since then. She is, the moment you guys pull her out of the house and into the rest of the village, she is the most popular person in the village. People are started to crowd around her before the feast.
Okay. So I guess I just pull her aside for a moment. We want to be as discreet as possible when we leave. Just to let you know that, considering your ability. I don't know if you'll be... I know, like, you might have the urge to suddenly say something, and then something may happen. I know our luck. Just want to let you know.
She nods and says, I wanted to join the Risen, though, to help people, and I feel like I have the chance to do that now. But,
right.
I understand. I'm not, telling the future, but I can at least make people smile.
What did my 16 on investigation get me, Brandon?
I was going to let you know after this, RP finish.
Alright. That's cool.
Alright, I'll smile and nod, and that's a good thing. We just want to be discreet in taking you away, because I am pretty sure, based off, I forgot the name of the Risen lady already. Did I have that written down? I did not have her name right. No, never mind. Adriana? Adrina?
Adrina, yep.
Adrina, okay. From what Adrina has told me, there is likely going to be people after you. And us taking you will probably be more discreet than you going with the Risen and the Sun Yi. So, I know it's hard to keep a low profile. Just don't tell anyone that we're leaving tomorrow.
When you say people after her, she laughs and says, "So when you said not to tell the future and unless it was moments of importance, what do you define as important?"
Are we gonna get into a fight?
Oh, I God hope I do.
Just blandly like, are we gonna get into a fight when we take you?
She shakes her head and says, No, I wanted to put your mind at ease, but I also didn't want to give you information you didn't want to know. Oh, does that count as future telling?
No, that's fine. I honestly just assumed the worst based off our previous experiences. Thank you for making me feel a bit better. Just in case, though, we have two people that can keep an eye out on things, so we should be good for most of the trip.
She nods and says, and as far as the levels of importance for telling the future?
Let's go with immediate future, and like probably within a day or two, and if it's life-threatening, I think that's a good enough filter.
She puts a hand on her chin and says, "Whose life?"
Us in the group, and what was the name of the person from the university?
Dila Winrona.
Okay, I thought I had her name. And Dila.
She nods once again, zipping her lip shut, and closing the key and putting it in her pocket.
One more thing. If it's something funny, you can keep it to yourself. But let us know if it's really funny. And if it's not, don't let.
If you know, you're gonna spoil the joke.
If you know, you're gonna spoil the joke. But don't
tell her to spoil the joke. What happened?
Don't spoil the joke.
No.
But if you, how to describe it? If you want to just let us know, hey, something interesting might happen, around us.
Getting weird about these rules.
I know, right? I don't know how to do this. I'm just doing this for just so she doesn't feel like she's restricted too much.
Yeah, but this is 100% in Urkus's character. Just like, don't tell the future, unless it's very important. But I mean, if it's really funny, I guess you can tell if it's really fun. Honestly, I don't know.
I don't.
It's 100% Urkus.
Yeah, it's me. Yeah, like you know what?
It's me.
The stuff about life-threatening and stuff. I guess we'll keep that, but everything else, it's on you. I'll leave it to your discretion.
Okay, on that, she's gonna roll an insight check. And she's going to, put a hand on Urkus's, shoulder then, and say, okay, you don't have to worry about, anybody, coming after me, or, my life, or anything of that nature. She looks for a long moment at Urkus and says, "I should talk to your sailor. He's nice. He handles things, right?"
Oh, he does.
Why are we bringing me up? I'm in danger, aren't I?
Yeah. She pats Urkus's shoulder and walks back to the feast, not engaging in any of the games she was playing before.
I'm low-key suspicious. I'm just gonna go around and say hi to people.
All right. So what's Hosek looking for?
Magical items or information on, going to the shops looking for magical items, anything that's super out of the ordinary that no normal person should have. I don't know, maybe just an earthbound weapon lying in a shop for like 5 gold or something like that.
This is called.
How's it be able to pick it out? Normal people might not. And then, if not, then research on the town and the wolf spirit. Maybe if there's a library or something.
Alright. This is unfortunately not Arter Sarai, where every single town has a library.
Black market?
No. Black markets are, wherever you look for them at. They exist in many places.
I will roll a new investigation.
I am almost certain I told you where it was.
I feel like that was true. Going with the information that Urkus said out loud to Tristan. It seems like the black market is here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're nice guys. Just don't screw with them.
The things, the doodads that he's going to come across this far north, as far as magical oddities, are going to be things that belong to a group of people called Brindori Shadow Knights. They're going to be small charms, necklaces, gems, a few weapons, many of which Hosix is going to know aren't innately magical. But the people said they had the power to keep dark spirits away, and if you did encounter one, stop it from messing with your soul or possessing you.
That's super handy.
Right? That does sound super handy.
By the way, like the trinkets that he's finding, the people selling these are explaining, these are all found by people traveling this area and, trading them here. These are off dead Brindori Knights.
Yeah. Brindori Knights are not common south of here, are they?
No, they only exist in Alyan, the nation directly north of this village.
Gotcha. They're not innately magic, but they are magical, correct?
Not all of them are magical.
Would I be able to discern which ones are and are not magical?
You have detect magic.
Why is my character sheet never up here when I want it to be?
Because I know not all warlocks get that. It's like a pact or something, or one of those things you get. I forgot.
Invocation.
That one. There we go.
Is it an evocation? I get to choose those.
Invocation.
Oh, invocation.
Evocation is a school of magic. An invocation is a warlock feature.
Eldritch evocations.
Yes.
Yeah, I got to choose those.
Eldritch.
Yeah, I mean, if you have anything like
Sigil Seagal. No.
Yeah, I was to say, if you have anything that can metal detector magic, I can tell you exactly which ones. But as far as your
proficient in Arcana.
Yeah, and as far as investigation and Arcana, I can just tell you that he senses the presence of magic.
So I can't sense the presence of magic coming from directly from one object in particular out of a host of objects?
Yeah.
I can or cannot?
You cannot.
Alright. Well, I have to trust people on face value, and I don't know if I trust people at face value. Also, I have very limited spell slots, and I don't want to, one, I don't have detect magic, and two, I don't want to waste it if I did. Well, none of that piques my interest then. Yeah, I will go back to the party then and look for the future sight girl who does pique my interest.
You find her at the feast happening. There's a set of tables that have been prepared and a fire happening near the gate of the village. She is turning away people coming towards her, some of which you can see have their hands behind their back with fingers held out.
I walk up to her. I'm assuming that the guy in front of me has fingers behind his back, and I shout out, "He has 5!" Just to ruin the magic.
What a dick.
These are not interesting questions to ask a woman who has future sight.
Yeah. She points to you and says, I'm not doing that right now. Thank you."
I go over to her and I go, "Cool. Can I ask some questions?" And I promise they're not about the future.
She nods and says, "I've actually been given permission to tell the future on select occasions, but not to make a scene of it."
Alrighty. I was more interested.
As you sit down, closest to her at her table, 2 more people come and line up behind your chair.
This is rather annoying. Wait, 2 people come and line up behind my chair?
Yeah.
So I turn to them and go, "Can I help you?" I don't like people peeking over my shoulders.
Yeah, they shake their hands and said, shake their hands and say, "No, we're waiting for our turn with the seer." The man behind her, or behind the person who responded to you, says she's an oracle. The man in front of him says, "Same thing as a seer. What's the difference?" She says, "I'm actually neither."
Yeah, she's a lot more of a special case. Like,
Yeah, they begin arguing behind you.
cool.
Tomato,
I will let them argue. It distracts them. So I turn back to her while they're arguing, and go, "So can you describe your entire experience from start to finish of when you went into the forest to when you met the spirit that gave you your powers?"
She nods and says, "Yeah, I actually applied in the town just west of here. I was trying to join the Risen. I studied my whole life for it. I forsook my family name already. Once you join the Risen, you lose your last name, and you become a member of the school you join. After I was told I failed the test, I couldn't believe it. I got so angry I spent the night crying, and that morning I ventured north into the forest. I didn't know what I was looking for, or who I was looking for, but it found me, and it spoke. It was kind of everything in the forest. Wasn't much of anything. I don't know if that's a good way to describe it.
Did it speak with all the colors of the wind?
She shakes.
That was out of character.
She shakes her head, and, or rather, describing its voice, it's more of a harsh sounding whisper of something that was never supposed to talk, trying to form words. Like maybe the scraping of something where vocal cords kind of vibrate to make noise. Instead, this had to make noise in different ways. But
Okay.
regardless, she described that she could understand it, and asked if she'd ever joined the Risen. And in return, it asked what she'd give in order to find out, and she said anything. And then suddenly she could see all moments of her life from beginning to end, all the time. And through that maze, she made it back to the town she was living in to the west. Stayed there for nearly 2 days before word started to spread to her around there, and the Sunyith ordered her executed before she finally fled the town.
Well, an execution order doesn't sound very nice to someone who can help people.
She nods and says, they've since retracted that. The priest in charge of that village was hasty in his judgment.
Okay. But you got this power, and you said you'd give anything for it, and nothing has been taken from you? Like, you don't feel any sense of loss or misunderstandings or anything?
Hilbelry is going to shake her head and say, no, other than being able to glimpse, or rather, talk to the future, I feel the same.
That is very intriguing. Power without a cost. Housick is jotting stuff like that down in his notes, with a question mark at the end. So, like, Jordan, have theories, but I will save those for when more information is gathered. Calling that good for the time being, since I don't think she can tell me anything more than I don't already know. After this, I'm just going to enjoy the party until we get to our next roleplay point.
Alrighty. Does anybody else want to do anything else during Tristan's impromptu feast?
Complain about the food.
Yeah, it is pretty awful. However, the hunters of the village do eventually bring out some meat. Near the latter part of the night, when people finally stop approaching Hilbelry, she leaves her table and seeking out Roman, and pulls him aside and says, you're uncharacteristically quiet.
I don't think that's uncharacteristic at all.
She shakes her head and says, I see you so many times laughing and talking and sharing. I just didn't think the first time we met would be like this.
I try to save my words for when they're needed.
She nods and says, I have been told to save my skill for when it's needed.
I've noticed that your skill isn't always accurate.
She nods excitingly and says, yes, 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 yes. It's not. Which is why I want to tell you something that's harder to tell the rest.
I'm listening.
She swallows and says, "So you're good at being impartial, and you know you should stay away from boats. You know they haven't been good to you in the past, and probably not so much for the future."
Ma'am, I'm a sailor. At some point, I'm getting back on a boat. If I happen to die on that boat, it is the fate of the family. My father died on a boat. His father before him died on a boat. We die on boats.
She nods and says, "Yeah, I'm just trying to change as many things as I can that I've seen. You know, don't use the mirror. Don't get on a boat. But I'm sorry. What I'm trying to say is," and she inhales and exhales and says, "He kills me." She points towards Urkus, and
The Dark Lord.
Oh no! Confirmation, baby!
and she says, "But you know, my visions aren't always accurate. I don't know if that means that, you know, maybe he doesn't kill me. Maybe it's another one of you, or when exactly it happens. But I've talked to the one it happens to several times, and I have some details surrounding it. I just thought I feel like one of you should know." I wanted to tell him, but he seemed so worried earlier. He was concerned about other people coming after me, but how do you tell somebody
How do you
that...
tell the shield that it's the sword?
She nods and says, "Exactly!"
This is one of those times where I wish good old Papa Drake didn't just talk in sea analogies.
The ocean says yes.
The ocean says yes. Look, from what I've come to know about most of the people I travel with, I don't trust the new guy.
He's too lovely.
If what you say is true, I can't entirely believe what you say is true, or at the very least, malicious. But I guess that means that we need to keep an eye out, because it probably means something drastic goes wrong. If that makes sense.
She nods and says, "I have a idea, and
Apparently goes wrong on a boat.
I was wondering if you would be willing to subscribe to it."
You mean you want to tell me everything, like what you saw?
She shakes her head and says, "Past tonight, no me ever wears this again." She pulls off the neckerchief, or rather the ascot tied around her neck, and puts it in Roman's hands. Says, "I was wondering, perhaps you could get Urkus to wear it, and maybe swear to never take it off. That way I could ask the me who dies if the person wearing that is the one to do it."
I can I could do that. He says, with hesitation.
She nods and says, but it could also mean that, you know, you throw it away here in the village, and as we leave, we never see it again, which could also explain why I also never see it. I'm just trying to control this. Thank you. She bows, putting the ascot in your hand, and walks back towards her table.
I'm just gonna look at this ascot, sigh, and go, I should have sold fruit.
Could have stayed in the capital with Brock.
No, be a sailor. It's the family tradition.
Alright.
Damn it.
Do you guys want to end there? It is 10 o'clock. Or we can go for or we can go for one more RP encounter, but that was about everything I had planned for this session.
I'm good with ending it here.
I have no qualm.
Alrighty. We're gonna end there at the feast that I never knew was gonna happen. So there you go.
Gotta start off every session of Group 2 with a party.
A bland tasting party.
I'm gonna move everybody
I
over
already said it was
to
a good party.
With threats of death.
that chart. Good session tonight. Alright. Yeah, that was, yeah, that's the intro to your guys' campaign. Urkus isn't necessarily evil, he's just been touched by evil, so, you know.
Quote unquote evil. Then the gods are evil. Fuck them.
He's also been predicted to kill somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, it's the fifth ascendant.
Wait, you mean if a killer can become a god? Okay. I mean,
All of a sudden, it all starts to squad goals.
so you guys want a god on your party? You want a person that sees the future? Come on.
God, future teller. God, future teller.
Honestly speaking, it was like, you might be wondering why I've gathered you all today. One of you will betray me. I was like, why not Tristan? He's the one that needs, you know, to sacrifice somebody to the mirror. I mean, he could already use it, but if any one of us was gonna kill a person, it's him.
Tristan just
Our house.
like, yeah, I totally haven't, you know, killed somebody else.
Or something.
Yeah, I got power of the mirror.
I'm still not able to fully access the powers of this mirror. Totally.
I'm gonna say flat 2,000 experience for tonight. And I'm gonna give inspiration to Urkus and Tristan for just quality roleplay going on and contributing to things.
I'm not an eloquent person.
Honestly, I was kind of scared that you might change my alignment slightly towards good because of the feast thing.
Shit, now I'm not attuned to the mirror anymore. Gotta go kill another innocent.
I mean, it's still lawful to, you know, throw a feast for everybody. It's not against anything. And, you know, it's beneficial of just like, hey, look, people like me more.
Obey me more.
Also, too, I will eventually have to have a conversation with JD about Tristan, his holy symbols, and how he practices and his faith and etc. Because in the Lil Nagai, it's illegal to practice other faiths.
Yay!
I can't wait to beat. I can't wait to fight the Subyuth.
Oh, we know that's gonna happen.
Yeah, they're not bad people. They're just, you know, they got a code they live by.
They live by it hard.
I completely understand why you guys are trying to kill us. At the same time, we don't want to die.
Except the first tenet of my religion is catch these hands. There's no second tenet.
First tenet of my religion is, ooh, what does this do?
What does this button do?
What does this do? How does this work? Wait, what happened here?
It was, unfortunately, it is not... Oh, let me do the final things we need to do before I end the broadcast. So your guys' next campaign will be on the 3rd of February. Oh, hey, look, that's interesting. All right, and then the next week's session will be Group D, which will be yeah, half of Group B. Yeah, it's interesting.
I had a question about that.
Yeah, I'm ending the broadcast.